something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
Well, howdy, folks. How are you this very fine Friday? And it is the free-for-all. We like to have one of these on a Friday. And tonight, joined by Craig Cole, and Vince will be along shortly as well for a little bit of a catch-up. Just want to do a couple of little bits of housekeeping to begin with. If you watched last night's show, or indeed the live stream from the car earlier today, just on the VOF channel, formerly known as Nun2K, then... you will be aware that we've put up a new email address off the back of last night's program, where I was talking about the demands you would make of a political solution, be that a party, be that a loose group of independents gathered together under an umbrella name or something, I don't know. But what would you demand of them before you would feel like you could trust them enough to give them your vote? There are millions of Australians who refuse to vote. And Queensland tomorrow will experience a very high volume of non-voters, not people who are just going in to draw donkey dicks on bloody ballot papers. These people don't even bother turning up to the street, don't get their name signed off, couldn't care less, will have an excuse, or will reject the fine and send it back when it comes unopened, and live with it turning up on your Spur record, which is what happens in Queensland. They don't care whether you send the fine back or not. It goes on your Spur record, and next time they decide they want to get some money from you, they will suspend your license or threaten to until you pay them. Usually that kind of thing is known as extortion, but unfortunately we, the wonderful people of this country and many others, have nobody to enforce or protect us from that level of extortion. I was talking with Darren Bergwerf today, had a very good conversation with Darren over a number of different things. And he brought to my attention today, he had an interesting conversation with a police officer at the courts in Melbourne. He was there for a different reason. He wasn't in court. He was there supporting somebody else. And this copper has come out and patted him on the back, metaphorically speaking, and said, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great. You've got a lot of support within the police force. Keep doing what you're doing. And Darren was pretty happy with that. It just made me angry. What sort of fucking cowards are the police in Victoria? Don't tell us we're doing a good job. Get off your ass. Do your job. Protect the people, you gutless cowards. Don't turn up at a fucking court and say, you're doing a great job, pat you on the head, when you know damn well next week you'll turn around the corner and squirt that same head with pepper spray or beat the shit out of it with your baton. Why? Because your political master tells you to. You haven't got the brains or the moral guidance to do what's right by the people. So don't come and suck up to us at the courts and say, you're doing a good job, keep up the effort, you got a lot of support from the police. Fuck you, cowards. Cowards is what you are. And not just in Victoria. Every police officer in this country who refuses to stand up and do their job to protect the people of this nation. They're all cowards. They're all working for the corporation. So save your, keep up the good work shit. Get off your ass and start doing your job, you cowards. That's what you are. Cowards. I would demand better leadership in our police. I would demand better morals from those wanting to be our police. I would demand that they know their job is to protect the people from their overlords, from their bosses who issue unlawful orders, and these fucking lemmings, the cowards on the front line, carried it out. Unquestioningly, you morons. The IQ of a fucking gnat. Gutless bastards. All of you. Don't give us platitudes. Oh, keep up the good work. Start doing some good work yourself. Gutless bastards. What demands would you have? We want to know your demands. We want to know what the people of Australia require. There's nearly 20% of eligible voters in this country who refuse to vote. And right now, the political parties are sniffing around trying to figure out how to attract them. Or maybe if they had better policies and stronger personalities, they might be able to attract some support. But I don't know that that's going to happen. Not with the current crop, at any rate. So what do you demand from any group that's going to stand up and try to offer a political solution for the freedom movement? We want you to send those suggestions to us, and I've got some that we will go through that I've received already today. Vince has been working his ass off to set up we'll change over our servers and set up this new email address, which is demands with an S at vofhq.com. What do you demand? What would you want before you could offer your vote to a party that says it's for the people? What do you demand? What would you ask for policy? What would you demand of those who stood and ran under such a banner? We talked last night about accountability and many other things, and we'll get back into that a little later on tonight. I guess I should introduce the guests tonight. We'll start with the waving wonder, as I like to refer to him, because, well, that's just what he is. And here he is. No idea how many people email me saying, oh, gee, we're looking so much forward to seeing Vince wave again on Friday night.
Well, it is what it is, mate. I'm around when I'm around and I'm not when I'm not.
Deeply attractive man with good hand movements. What can I say? You know, people recognize you for what you are.
You want to be a bit careful about that concept.
Yes, you would want to be. You would want to be. Thank you for not making the joke subtle at all. And let's welcome a man who is known for his subtlety around the nation from Leave Our Kids Alone and a great friend of the program, Craig Cole. Mate, I just want to tell you, be absolutely sure the eyes are wide open, and I offer you this public apology for last Wednesday night. You were meant to be on the show Wednesday night, and there was a few things that we wanted to promote for you, and I just had a shocking day and wound up asleep right here in the chair until 1:15 in the morning. So I apologise for Wednesday night.
You know, it's all good, Carl. I've got over it, mate. I was up and down, pacing till midnight, feeling like the person, the young kid that didn't get picked to go to the prom, and rocking backwards and forwards in the chair, and wondering what I'd done wrong. And
now you make me feel bad.
That's all good. That's all good, mate. Things happen. It's all good.
Things do. So today should have been, I would say, a red-letter day for the people of Victoria who woke up this morning to some mainstream media coverage of the Punts Daniel Andrews in the youth mental health worker area, and the fact that you were putting a rally together today, a protest of sorts, to ask that his appointment as the head of this, nominal head, if you like, of this youth mental health organisation be reviewed and that he be taken from him. You were on 3AW, one of Melbourne's largest radio stations, certainly one of Melbourne's most highly rated. Oh, you weren't on? Oh, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, no, I wasn't on.
Promotion at any rate.
Sorry,
Sunrise.
Yeah.
Sunrise. And I would have thought you'd get a few. Obviously, you missed me on Wednesday night, but I could have only dragged maybe a few to you. But what were you hoping for today when you in Royal Park, is it, or Parkside?
Parkville,
where the office of this mental health organisation is. What were you hoping for?
Yeah. Well, just to supply some context, I spoke to ever since the announcement was made, the temperature of people, and even people that you consider, and I don't like using this expression, and we've got to change it, but just for the sake of the conversation, even normies out there, people that aren't fully awake to things, the temperature of outrage in Victoria over the situation was quite high. There was an article in the Herald Sun last Friday, page 3 of the Herald Sun, with a mother. I'm going to mention her in a moment because she's got a petition together. The mother of a boy who was one of the first ones, or I think the first one, to take his life because of the draconian lockdowns. And also the father of the boy that Daniel Andrews hit on the bike. And we all know that he hit him. High-ranking police know. High-ranking ambulance know. High-ranking fire brigade know. Everybody knows at those levels that he was the one behind the wheel. So the father of the boy that was hit obviously spoke out and said it's disgusting. So the temperature and groundswell was high. So I thought, well, let's give these people somewhere to vent, like they're doing something and sending a message, not just the petition online, which I'll read out to you in a moment, because I want to read it out so people can hear it, and hopefully it resonates and hits their heartstrings, because if it doesn't hit your heartstrings, you haven't got a bloody heart, or your level of apathy is that low. It's a concern. But so the idea was we'll give these people an opportunity. So the reason we did it on a Friday, obviously, is when the management would be there and the business was open, more of an effect. Now, when I just thought, oh, well, people's level of interest and participation in protests for a while now has just dropped completely off. So if we get a few hundred people there, that'll be a good message. And did by our normal social media channels, we shared it around and did a few lives, etc. And then I got alerted to the mainstream media, got hold of it. The Age sent me an email, someone from The Age, someone from News Corp
looks
sent
like
me an
we've
email.
had our first drop out at my end for the night. You might just want to say that again, Craig, just the last bit.
Someone from The Age gave me a call. Sent me an email. Someone from News Corp. The News Corp guy had a phone number, so I gave him a call. We had a bit of a chat, and which he alerted me to that he did contact members of the board to ascertain on who was it that voted yes for this, and none of them put their hand up. Not one of them.
Is that
What
right?
a surprise. Yeah. Just
Wow.
mate. Yeah. So, so when this happened, I thought, gee whiz, and then we got a mention on 3AW with callers calling in, saying that they were outraged and good on these people for doing it type thing, and then got a run on Channel 7 Sunrise this morning, the good old fake news. So I thought, geez, we may get a few people here today, which is great. It's never about, I've organised this protest, all these people are coming. That's not me. My name is not Monica Schmidt. I don't do this for glory. So it sort of gave us a good feeling. And then sort of the police were extremely accommodating. There was no one there from the business, but the security were out the front. They had the car park cordoned off so you couldn't go in. But they said, "Oh look, we've allocated the full car park for you to do your rally at." I said, "Okay, that's cool." So they were really, really accommodating. I got a number from the media liaison for Origin, and I gave them a call, because what they did is they sent all their people home for the day, and they sent the kids that normally go there, or normally they're home for the day, away as well too. So I just rang them up to reiterate that it was never ever about the people from Origin. As you know, I've worked with youth mental health for the last 18 years, Carl, so I know how dire the situation is and can really relate to that. So I just wanted to make it clear it was never about the people. We're never going to intend to have a rah-rah protest. It was as a peaceful gathering for people to come along and send a message as a show of weight of numbers. And it was extremely disappointing, to say the best, to say the least. Sorry, we had about 25 to 30 people turn up. Now, when you get the lady that Angela Sherman, who's the mother of the boy who took his life, she had a protest. She's got the petition up on change.org, and she's got 8,500 signatures in a week on there. So you would hazard a guess that most of those signatures will be people from Victoria. It'd be a fair assumption to make. So, and I get it's a work day, I get it, but the level of apathy that people have now here in Victoria when it comes to getting up and getting off your ass and being active again it's really alarming, Carl. And I get people are tired, and I get people are tired, and I get people, just want it to be over, and I get people want results. This is part of our problem as a society. We are too results focused and not enough process focused. If you take care of the process, the result will take care of itself. And part of that process is the grind. Part of that process is the punches in the face. Part of that process is the setbacks. Part of that process is not seeing that end reward, but focusing on all the little wins you have along the way. Yeah. But people, we have been conditioned to accepting, I've put in an effort, where's my reward? Well, in a war, it doesn't work that way. So no, people really have to start developing new mindsets around this. Wherever they're going to get it from, I don't care. And start looking within, because here we go. I've never said this in 4.5 years. And as you know me, Carl, I'm always, I run self-growth and self-growth seminars, for God's sake. I'm always, looking at, always trying to pump people's tires up and give them that confidence and that self-belief that they need. But for the first time, and I'm going to say this publicly, I said on this afternoon, I'm worried. I am really, really, really deeply concerned that we're not going to make it. Now, that may change. And sorry?
Do you mean as a race?
No, we're not going to win. I'm just worried that not enough people in this country are standing up for us to start to make change and get where we need to get to. Not enough people.
Apathy. Australians have been known as apathetic for, let's say the last 30 or 40 years that I can attest to. We're known as pretty laconic, laid-back kind of folks, but that translates on the ground here to apathy. Is that an overstatement, do you think, Craig?
Yeah. And we've got a real problem with people out there, and people can look at me and these are the hard conversations you need to have, and conversations with yourself. It's funny, we demand honesty from every other person in our life and get shitty when people lie to us, but we're happy lying to ourselves and content with lying to ourselves. How does that work? Okay, now being honest with yourself isn't a beating up exercise. It's looking yourself directly in the mirror and saying, you know what, I need to improve here. I need to do more here. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Nothing wrong with saying that at all. Doesn't mean you've done bad. Doesn't mean you haven't done enough. It means we need to do more. Every single one of us need to do more. I need to do more.
Yep.
So
every one of us needs to do more.
Yeah, absolutely. And then people might say, "Oh, I do enough, Craig." Yeah, I do enough as well too. But I don't walk around saying, "Look what I've done. Look what I've done." And I'm not trying to let people use me as an example. I'm just using me as an example in this situation. So it's like I said, mate. I'm really, really concerned unless people start, because what it is now, what it's become to now, is people will get involved if they've got some spare time. So there would have been a number of people out there have a lunch catch up, or they were going to do this, or they had to do that for the day, or whatever. I'm sorry, what your mindset has to be is, well, what I had planned there, I can reschedule. I have to get to this event. I have to go and do this. This Saturday, I'll be standing in a park in Moonee Ponds for 2 hours. beautiful sunny day. It's going to be 23 degrees. I'd love to be out there having a nice brunch in a open beer garden somewhere, having a Palmer and a couple of pots and sort of kicking back and enjoying myself and having a conversation. We're in war. We've got time to do that later.
Yeah.
For God's sake, like we've been at the gates of hell for a while, and the enemy doesn't sleep because the enemy is in places that there's numerous numbers of them. They've got the technology. They're on the higher ground. We're not. We've got to work harder to claim that higher ground and to claim where we need to get to. Now, this is all metaphorically speaking. I get it, but you've got to start getting the picture. So people have to start digging deep, finding their second wind, and going again. You know, I had the idea of organising a rally in the city this month or next month to galvanise that, to harness everyone's angst down here in Victoria, because no matter who you speak to, they've had enough. So it'll be like, label it enough is enough. Have you had enough? Come along, and whatever your displeasure is, come along and vent it. Okay, so but it's like, I think, well, I'd love to do it, but I don't want to, you know, if you have some sort of assurance that it's got to be big. And we need the numbers of 50, 60, 70,000 that we were getting at the big protests that were happening down in Melbourne a couple of years ago. That's what we need.
Yep.
And it's not something saving a country and making significant change. I mean, we are trying to make the most significant change in the history of mankind. Did you think you were going to go through it with bruise free and not raising a sweat? Really? Did you? Or it went for a certain amount of time and, it's been 4.5 years now. That's enough. When are we going to win? Stop with that mentality. We win when we win, whatever it takes and however long it takes. And if you've got to go again, that's part of the challenge. That's part of the grind, doing the same things over and over and over again. I know it's monotonous, but instead of looking at it like, change your mindset around it. Instead of looking at it like, I have to go and do this. I get to go out and speak to some people today. I get to go to this rally today. I get to go and do some more research today. I get to. Instead of, I have to. It's a subtle change in mindset, but the ramifications down the track to your mindset by, sorry, Carl, I went off on a tangent there a little bit, but gee whiz, this is one of the things I do.
You notice we haven't stopped you, Craig.
No, we're very happy to let you go. You're speaking sense.
You're speaking truth. So cool. Why stop the truth when it's coming out? So,
well, I mean, but it's just about having honest conversations with yourself. Now, I mentioned this the other night, okay, and it's one of the things I speak about in the seminar. Necessity is, there's two things you can use here: fear as a motivator. Now, fear as a sole motivator, absolutely not. But fear can be used as a motivator. I'll give you an example in a minute, but I'm speaking about necessity. Some people say, respect is the most overriding factor, and I disagree. I think necessity is the most overriding factor because human beings will do things that they didn't think that was possible out of necessity. I'll give you an example. If you were, it's a bit of a gross one, but you know, it's pretty true. If you were walking down the main street tomorrow and seen a half-eaten salad roll sitting on top of the bin, would you eat it? Absolutely not. Disgusting. No. But if you hadn't eaten for 3 weeks and you've seen that same salad roll on top of the bin, you'd be grabbing it, dusting it off and scoffing it down in 2 seconds. Why would you do that? Out of necessity to stay alive. We have to do things and re-enter or rejoin or whatever. So I'm just missing the terminology at the moment. We have to reinvent ourselves again and go again out of necessity, because if we don't start doing the things that we need, we aren't going to get where we need to get to, and your life will continue, and they will continue the draconian stuff. They'll implement their smart cities. They'll put in their misinformation. They'll take away cash, and then it's good night, nurse. The only way you're going to get out of that is through violence, and that's the last thing we want, Carl.
Absolutely.
If it comes to that, it comes to that. I've got no problem with that. No problems at all with that. But we're trying to avoid that.
Yeah.
So out of necessity, it is necessary.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Craig,
just
I know that.
Sorry, just let me finish up. Sorry, mate. Now that's necessity in this instance is born. It comes from fear. I'll give you an example how fear can be a good motivator. If I took you two gentlemen down to the athletics track tomorrow and I said to you, boys, line you up at the 100-meter line, and you had to run as fast as you can, put in the effort, run as fast as you can, I'll pay you $500. Starter's going to go off, bang, and off you guys and go and fall in a heap at the end of the 100 meters, no doubt. But you get your $500. Fantastic. Pretty fast.
Yeah.
But if I took you down the athletics track the next day, lined you up the 100 meters, and let a hungry bear go behind you, I bet you'd run a whole lot faster. Out of what?
Motivation.
Fear that the bear's going to attack you. Okay, so this is one of the motivating factors that we can use. Out of necessity, if I don't start doing the things that are necessary, we're not going to get where we need to get to. So fear can be that good motivating factor in that regard. So if I can just read, Carl, because what we'd like to do is get this petition circulated. And after I read the summary of the petition, what the mother has put up there, if this is not going to touch your heartstrings, I don't know what is. So why this petition matters, Angela Shearman. Forgive me if I got that pronunciation wrong. I lost my 16-year-old son to suicide in April 2020 during the first of Dan Andrews' record 6 lockdowns. Louis might have been ground zero in the suicide statistics that were a consequence of the inhumane lockdowns that impacted our young people, but tragically, he is now one of many. Last weekend, my son would have turned 21. Instead, our family and his many friends had a fundraiser to support youth mental health charities. We raised over $25,000 for local regional mental health services that have been left decimated by recent cuts by the state government. I don't want any more young people to be a statistic like Louis. I don't want any more families to suffer the existential shattering that occurs when you lose a child to suicide. You can only imagine what the family would feel. His dad, his little sister, and me will never be the same. We have been to hell and back, and I have chosen to share our story in the hope that Louis' death is not in vain. But today we are in shock. How can a divisive ex-premier in Andrews, who has wreaked havoc on Victoria, presided over the longest lockdowns in the world with the highest suicide rates, be appointed to chair Origin as a prominent and respected youth mental health body? The optics alone are horrendous. It's like Origin and the ex-premier are gaslighting the most vulnerable people in our state. It's unbelievable, and I'm asking for your support to reverse this. Now, that's what the mother's written. So we, even in Victoria, that petition should be up to 100,000. Like the level of, we've got 6.5 million people here. And I guarantee 4 million of them couldn't stand the sight of Daniel Andrews and know him for what he is. So if we can't get 100,000 signatures on a petition to give this mother and her family maybe the slightest little bit of comfort, like, where are we at? Are we that weakened and submissive as a nation of people? And once again, there'll be people out there looking at this going, oh, well, you know, I'm doing a lot here. Fantastic. But not enough of us are. The people that have fallen by the wayside need to start reinvesting some of their time and taking some time off some of your pastimes, some of the things you like doing, and reinvesting it into saving your country. Because like I said, Carl, this is the first time I've said this publicly, but I'm really concerned, mate. I'm really concerned.
Yeah, and I think you have every right to be. Victoria has always been able, in the last 4 years, have been able to generate some of the biggest crowds when it comes to protests and rallies in the country. It wasn't all that long ago that we saw 100,000 or more people on the streets of Melbourne, and the CFMEU cowering inside their offices. Is
the CMFEU? Can I just mention the CMFEU?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Carl. Sorry, you're just breaking in and out. CMFEU. Yeah, big tough guys, yeah? You get to the streets when your little club's going to be affected. You get to the streets when your own personal gain's going to be affected. But for the greater good, you bend over like a bunch of pussies. Like, seriously, big tough CME. You touch one, oh, please turn it up. Catchphrase, you've got your tattoos around your neck, the imbecile Setka. Really, all they were interested in is feathering your own nest. They couldn't give a stuff about the wider community. CMFEU, please.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. In fact, I would label all unions pretty much like that. They are single focused, and look, okay, I understand looking after their members should be the goal, but looking after their members to the detriment of the rest of the nation and to the feathering of their own nest is simply not right. And that lying, thieving prick Bill Shorten, who shortchanged every cleaner and every food worker from Spotless, I think it was, Spotless Cleaning Services, when as head of the AWU, and he was trying to get his power base together, did a deal with Spotless Cleaning Services so that none of their people would get any overtime or any extra sort of money for working public holidays or anything like that. And of course, that Spotless signed them up to the AWU without them knowing it, without the workers knowing it. But it all helped Bill Shorten to, get his power base. And wow, weren't we blessed to have him in the parliament for the last however many years? Of course, he's seen the writing on the wall now and the prick's leaving. Unfortunately, he's going to wind up in a university teaching role, or at least an overseeing role, where young, impressionable minds are going to be molested by this human. And I find that completely disgusting. So, Craig, I'm sorry. I don't know that even if we had appeared on Wednesday night without me sleeping, whether many more would have turned up. Is it a matter of protest fatigue in Victoria? Because we've had huge crowds and very, very little result from them.
Zero result. That's why.
No. See, I disagree, boys. So this is once again, what result are you wanting from a protest? Okay, all the politicians go, oh, okay, no worries, you protested and we're all, we'll give you all you want. It doesn't work that way. You've got to go back and keep going back and keep going back to the well. I mean, you look at the protest in France. Every weekend for a year, those people went in. Every single weekend for 1 year, they went in and walked the streets. That's how they started to get change, mate. Because everyone's looking for the result. Oh, we've protested for the last few months now, and that's enough. We're not getting any results. You might not see the results as an optic, but the result puts more pressure on these cowards. And you can only, but the pressure needs to be applied, not applied and then dropped off, applied and then dropped off. It's got to be constant. Okay, so if they can do it in France, I mean, geez, the French know how to do it. You just look at the resistance. So all we need to do is take some of that mentality that a lot of the expats have from other countries that settle here and start investing it into our Aussie slack mentality. That, here's another one. Okay, sorry, we'll get on to the protest. So, look, you don't see the result, and protesting isn't just it alone. Okay, protesting is part of it, but it's the protesting and all the stuff that you're doing in the courts and everything else around that. You don't need me to explain all the other things as well too. But if you've got the protests in numbers every single weekend, like they did in France, then you may see. Now, if we had kept those protests going, and that's why they started easing off the restrictions. As soon as we had the numbers, they eased off the restrictions straight, started to ease them off systematically because they knew Too many people are starting to wake up here. We better give them something back. And
Yep.
everyone fell for it. Everyone fell
Not
for it.
everyone.
So we have to once again go back to the well and start holding rallies, but people have to start coming. Like,
Yep.
it's, I mean, but once again, that's only one chink. That's only one. There's a whole host of other things we need to be doing as well too, which a lot of people are. There's a lot of people doing some good work. But in terms of, if something's organised, get your ass there.
There's a lot of people, well, I can think of one in particular who's doing some pretty shit work at the moment. And this person has decided to, for whatever reason, probably because she can't come up with a legitimate prop for herself to work. Instead, now she has had her go at trying to invade the My Place audience and suck them dry. And now she has taken a liking to Leave Our Kids Alone. I'm talking about Monica Schmidt, who, with absolutely no training or experience in the field, now seems to be an expert and blurring the line, if you like, between herself and what you are doing, Craig. I mean, you've told me you've had people contact you saying, Monica's come on your side, so I've joined up with her. And I've had an email saying the same, although they hadn't joined yet. They asked if she was working with you. Now, this is, the evil slyness of this woman. She's ostensibly, and this is what, just look at the history of what she has done in the freedom movement. She's adopted other people's ideas, like Bosie, like John Wilson, and then they run with it and try and make their own. Why do you think she's decided to take you on with Leave Our Kids Alone?
It's not so much, I won't personalise it, Carl, and I will leave my personal thoughts out of here about Monica Schmidt, because I've got better things to do than entertain and think about something of the ilk and level of Monica Schmidt. But it's not an attack on me, and I'm not the only one that's pushing back on this. So I'm down here in Victoria, yes. There's another lady down here that's part of In Defence of Children. That's a Courtney. She's doing some good work. Mixed up, we should get off, stay away from Morgan Jonas. But anyway, that's another story. Another opportunist. So there's us here, and there's a collection of people. Rose Aranka from South Australia, who originally had Guardian South Australia, then started up Rose did earlier this year is ring up because she knew that there was people in each state pushing back against this and doing a lot of good work for a number of years. Tess Hackett from In Defence of Children and Active Watchful Waiting has been pushing it back against this for the last 9 years. The lady called Kat Karina up in Sydney, who's been pushing back against this in terms of legislation, lobbying parliamentarians, having the connections there all over the place, and making change through legislation. Okay. People up in Queensland. So what Rose did is she gathered everyone that was pushing back against this sexualised indoctrination and radicalised gender theory being flooded in the school system, combined all our resources and expertise. Everyone's still doing what they're doing in their own niches, but we're combining all our resources and expertise, and we're starting to get some really good results, but you don't see them, Carl, okay? Yeah. I'll give you an example here in a moment. But then you get someone like Monica Schmidt come along, who's an opportunist and has hitched her bandwagon to this crusade to try and gain popularity to do herself. Oh, look what Monica's doing for the kids. Isn't that fantastic? Monica Schmidt has no expertise in this field. She's the last person. I've got 18 years working with people. Might say, what have you got, Craig? 18 years working with youth in the community, 15 years in the education system. I know how the system works. I know how these bastards operate. I know what advice kids should be given and what advice kids shouldn't be given in this
and
regard.
And how to give it, I suspect, because kids will only take that advice in a
I mean, I've got to
develop skills to deal with.
Yeah, exactly. But how parents should be dealing with schools as well too, and the tactics the schools can use, the tactics the schools use, and I'm inside and out, Carl. I've worked in over 200 schools, probably close to nearly 400 over my 15 years, and community agencies and other places that deal with children. So
So
it is
tell us about
dangerous what she's
her.
doing.
Yeah, you're saying she's dangerous. So tell us about her appearance on 3AW in the Tom Elliott drive time.
So Kat Karina called me earlier, and she said she's concerned that it's actually dangerous. Someone who's not qualified to give this information and guide parents, empowering parents and guiding parents to and children to push back against this. She has no clue. I was actually listening to 3AW this morning. I don't normally listen to the radio, but got picked up and Matt had it on in the car, and it was just a time, funny enough, that she was on. And it was cringeworthy. She was on 3AW speaking to Tom Elliott. It was cringeworthy. It was embarrassing. And Tom asked her a question, and so Tom said to her, so Monica, the phones have been, because Monica's brilliant idea is for kids to film their teachers and film teachers when they're teaching this sexual content. She absolutely has no idea of the systems that have been put in place at schools for quite some time now, where a lot of schools you have to actually hand your phone in at the start of the day in the office and get it back. A lot of schools, the kids can take their phones in, but they've got to leave it in their locker room. If they're seen with their phone in class, it is confiscated for the day. So good on you, you rocket scientist. You are putting kids in a situation who are already heightened, who are already slightly damaged through the traumatic effects of being locked down through convict, already bruised and anxious about this content that is being taught, the sexual content they're subjected to in the gender theory. They're already heightened about that. And now you idiot, are going to put them in a situation where it's going to cause conflict and get their phone taken off them and put them in a heightened state for the rest of the day. You absolute, excuse my language, fucking imbecile. Seriously. How dare you? How dare you piss fart around this? This is not a fucking game, Monica. You are a disgrace, an absolute disgrace. You are playing around with this for your own cause. Geez, I hope she sees this. And everyone else that supports her, and every parent, please stay away from her. And she was quoting today that, she's had contact from parents. My God, I feel for those parents. This is some terrible advice. And if this is the advice she's going to go through straight off the bat, because if you're launching a campaign, you're going to go with some of your best advice, you'd probably think, Carl, wouldn't you? If this is some of her best advice, God help those parents. She has no knowledge. Tom Elliott asked her, I'm not much of a rap for Tom, but anyway, the question was, Tom, but aren't phones banned in the classes, Monica? Oh, well, there's always ways around things. And then he asked her what her expertise was, and she said, I don't have any kids, but I'm an auntie. Like, yes, we're wanting relatives and people to push back, but there was no attempt by her to contact Guardians or any of the people from Guardians to say, hey, I would love to help out. What can I do? What are you guys doing? This information she's putting out there has been out there for quite some time in terms of guidance for parents. We've got a page up on the Leave Our Kids Alone web.
This probably wouldn't be happening if she had bothered to reach out to those organisations and possibly yourself to gain some knowledge. I mean, I support anybody who's going to go and fight for the kids. We can't have enough warriors on as far as I'm concerned. However, all warriors have to be on the front line fighting the same thing and using the same tools to fight, not making up tools and hoping that they're going to be effective. So
how long before she starts
planning?
Sorry, Carl.
Maybe this was just poor planning. Maybe this was, a brain fart that just went wrong. I don't know. I'm not trying to make excuses.
No, Carl, not at all, mate, because I spoke to Matt Lawson. Matt Lawson said he texted Monica about 3 months ago informing her when there was rumours of rumblings that she was going to do this. He texted her all the information or links to the Leave Our Kids Alone site. She blocked his number. Penny Johnson, who reached out to Monica when Monica put up on a post or something about empowering parents. And Penny Johnson from my place came up with the initiative Empowering Families that we've been on every fortnight, having parents come on seeking guidance, seeking good advice that isn't going to be further harm to their kids. Penny Johnson reached out and put a comment on one of Monica's posts. Yeah, Monica blocked her. So this is a deliberate attempt, Carl. This is no interest in working, especially when you've got no expertise. I mean, my expertise is fairly, but the great part about Guardians is we're all learning from each other. You know, Kat, I spoke to her on the phone. I'm learning a lot from Tess, a lot from everyone. So that helps me in my role as well too. And then my guidance and my advice on things and my information helps them. So this is how we're all helping each other.
Yeah.
Now, if she had to come along and contacted any of us and said, look, I'd love to get involved. What can I do? Oh, well, what are you good at? What can you do? All right, we'll give you some guidance on there. Perhaps, I mean, I would have alerted them away from Monica in the first place because I know what she's about. So it is really dangerous. And once again, this is not a personal attack on, but this is not a situation for people to be coming along playing games with. It just isn't. And, you know, we get an opportunity. I'll be going on 3AW next week. I spoke to the producer, a girl on the phone today, and left my details. So I'll be going on next week and trying to salvage the wreckage. It's the first time this sort of situation gets brought up on radio, and it was absolutely sabotaged by an idiot who didn't know what she was talking about and the advice. And if you're going to get on radio, sweetie, okay, make sure you have all your facts. I mean, gee whiz, that's the first basic thing you'd have. If I'm going on radio, I'll make sure I've got all the facts. Oh, no, not her. Oh, I'm on a pilgrimage at the moment. Look what I'm doing. Aren't I a wonderful person? Batter my eyelids. Monica, you're battering your eyelids. Babe in the Woods routine ain't going to cut it on this regard. Okay? So kindly take your little busted red wagon with the broken axle and the wobbly wheels and attach it to something else, because you are harmful to children. You are harmful to this cause. And there'll be people out there saying, oh, Craig's just got sour grapes. If you think that, you're an idiot. Okay? This is not about sour grapes. This is about, I've protected children in this community for 18 years. And this person is coming along. And like I said, I had calls today from concerned people that she's involved in this now, because there's a lot of people that have done a lot of work behind this. Poor Tess Hackett, okay, she first got involved in this way back 9 years ago when her young child was brainwashed, and she had a daughter that transitioned. So she had to go through all that, DHS coming to her house, removing the girl, etc., going through all that rigmarole, going through the courts. Okay, it's affected her health greatly. She doesn't work at all. The family situation, money situation with Tess isn't the best at the moment. Okay, I'm sorry to Tess if I'm raising that in a public forum, but how long until Monica starts asking for donations? If there's any donations from the public, it should be going to people like Tess Hack. It should be going to people like Kat, who's filing things in court and having to pay for legal documents getting sorted through by lawyers, etc. And you all know how much that costs, Carl. So everything we've done, the people on Guardians Australia, and I myself, everything we've done is funded through our own pockets. Okay? Guarantee she'll start asking for donations because she's got this whiz-bag form or this or that. There's already a form up on the Leave Our Kids Alone website for parents to download and give to your school, informing them that they need to cease teaching radical gender theory and the sexual content. Your child won't be partaking at all. And if they do continue to teach it against your child's wishes, they're in breach of federal legislation, the Human Rights Commission Act 1986. Okay.
I just want to play something for you, Craig. I just want to play something for you. It's come out of America, and an American mayor has turned up to a school board meeting and made a pretty good statement. well, have a look. I want to see and know when this is going to happen in
My name
Australia.
is Craig Schubert. I'm the mayor of this city. It has come to my attention that your educators are distributing essentially what is child pornography in the classroom. I've spoken to a judge this evening. She's already confirmed that. So I'm going to give you a simple choice. You either choose to resign from this Board of Education or you will be charged. Thank you.
Yeah,
There was a
I
huge
won't give
round
too
of
much.
applause from the audience after.
I won't give too much away, Carl. But there are wheels in motion for this sort of thing to start happening.
Bloody good. Can't happen soon
Yeah.
enough. Craig,
Now,
thanks for coming
Can
on.
I just mention? Can I just
sorry.
mention one thing before I go? Yeah. Just want to, if you're in Victoria, and we are going through each different state's legislation at the moment, but this is where you beat them with their own legislation, and that's the beauty of it. When you can beat them with their own legislation, it's fantastic. We're going to go corporate legislation. In Victoria, we have a, excuse me, just where is it? Sorry. Here we go. In Victoria, the act that, one of the acts that works around schools and education is the, Education and Training Reform Regulations Act 2000. Sorry, you there?
Yep, right, have another go. Yep, got you now.
Yep. Okay. As per Victorian legislation, under the Education and Training Reforms Regulation Act 2017, it states under Division 7, Parents Club Section 52. This information you can find on the Leave Our Kids Alone site under Important Guidance and Strategies, if you just scroll down a little bit. Section 52, Request for Information. On receiving a written request signed by at least 6 parents of the students at a government school, the principal of the school must convene a meeting for the purpose of forming a parents' club. The principal must take reasonable steps to circulate a notice to inform the school community of the meeting under Sub-Regulation 1 at least 14 days before the meeting. Excuse me. Any member of the school community may attend the meeting. Now, it does go on to say to form the official parents club, it's got to get ticked off by the minister, and you've got to have a constitution and all the rest. It's not the point. You get 6 parents in the same school requesting. Yeah, sorry. You there? You got me?
Ooh. Yep, got you back.
Yeah.
Hello. Okay.
Yeah, you're fine. You're loud and clear. You've been coming across loud and clear. It's just Carl that's dropping out. So keep going, Craig.
All right. Okay, thanks. You're mucking me up, Carl. It's all good, man.
For the first time, I'll just go to sleep here.
Just go back to sleep, Carl. You'll be right. Just fall back to sleep, mate. It's okay. I'm joking, mate. I'll straighten up. Sorry. So all you need is 6 parents to request that they want a parents club formed, and they must convene the meeting. Now, whether that parents club ends up getting the stamp or not is irrelevant. Okay. The strategy here is they must convene that meeting. The principal must send a letter out informing other parents that there's a meeting. And the idea of your parents club is, as a group of concerned parents, we want to form a parents club to review the content that our children are being taught at schools, and then they can go in at the parents club meeting, quote all the examples of what kids are being taught in other schools and at that particular school they've come across, place that out in an open forum in a public meeting of the school, and nut it all out and get the exposure out there to other parents that aren't aware of what the content's being taught. That's something you could organise as soon as next week, as soon as you get 6 other parents' signatures, as well as yourself, or 5 other parents' posts. Now, all that needs to take place is start having conversations with other parents. I mean, this is some of the guidance that we have been giving the community for quite some time now. The parents club thing, I only found the legislation last week. I'll be going through each state's legislation and trying to find the same thing relating to each state and get that up on the site as well too.
Excellent.
So there you go. Thanks for letting me mention that.
No, keep us up to date with the findings on that, mate. And if we can help spread the news about multiple states and ways that people can fight this back, I'm very happy to do so. Just give us the website again. leaveourkidsalone.org is the web address.
Leaveourkidsalone.org, and if we can get that petition that Angela Sherman got up around the lady that's her son took his life at the start of the lockdowns. I've sent you the link to that via email, Carl. So let's start circulating that and try and.
Yeah, I'll push that through to Vince, and we'll post that on our website as well, so people can find that at vofhq.com. Just click on it, and it'll take you straight through to the petition link or to the petition, so that you can sign it if you like. All good, mate.
Apologies.
No?
Apologies.
You dropped out for a second.
There seems to be a bit of a break between.
Is that the one that's petitioned straight off the front page? Is that the one that says petition right off the front of the page? On Leave Our Kids Alone, is that the petition that's listed right?
No. That's not the petition. No. That's not the petition. No, that's a petition that we've got up to for parent. Parents can sign that as well too. That we're petitioning the Education Department for all radicalised gender theory and sexual content being stopped pending a full independent inquiry. So that relates to that. So yeah, please share that around. But I'm talking about also the petition for the mother. But apologies. I do and I don't apologise for getting a bit antsy before, but like I said, this is nothing personal against any individual, but this situation is far too important, and we are starting to make inroads into it. We really are. Okay, we really, really are. Example of that, we had a report from a parent this week that 20 parents at the school have told the school that their children are not to partake in this any sexual education or radical gender theory, and the school said, yep, no worries, straight away. Now, there are a lot of schools that have been doing that anyway, but there are a lot of schools that will still try and press the point with the parent and argue the point with the parent. That's not starting to happen anymore, okay? So it's all these little subtle wins that we're having that a dangerous person such as this, who will give parents terrible information, want some data, no worries. Look at the information and advice and guidance that was given today. I mean, get your kids to film the teacher, you idiot. But so it is dangerous, and I'm really concerned for parents and children. So, but thanks very much to both of you, Carl. Thanks so much for your support, mate. I really, really appreciate it.
No problems, mate, and I promise I'll be more awake in the future for you.
Don't guarantee that.
Yeah, that might be a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I'll point out too, Craig, you and I are catching up. We're going to be appearing together at the My Place get-together in Echuca at the end of November.
I can't wait for that.
Well, it's going to be a great weekend. I'm so looking forward to it. Can't wait to come down and catch up with all My Place folks from Victoria, and I think there's a few following me down from Queensland. So I'm looking forward to that. And then a week later, we're over in Mount Gambier at the 8:32 event with Brett Keemar and crew. So we're going to be in each other's pockets for a little while. So I'm looking forward to catching up.
Yeah, and then I'm off to Uluru for 10 days for the Cosmic Consciousness Conference in Uluru. So if any people out there want to have a look at the conference over there in Uluru, and it's got some great speakers. Dr. Brian Artis will be coming over to speak. We've got Rachel Vaughan speaking. Yeah. So, and I'll be your MC for 3 days. So have a look at that one, the cosmicconsciousnessconference.com.au. And
mate,
it may not be everyone's cup of tea.
I might have to take the bus to Uluru after we leave Mount Gambier.
Mate.
Yeah.
Mate.
You don't want to get a quarter of the way there and run out of fuel. So, good luck on that.
That's the truth, yeah. Yeah, we're going to need to tow it. We're going to need to tow a 3.5-ton trailer to get us there.
I've done the drive, Carl, and that stretched from Port Augusta to Cooper.
And looking forward to catching up when we get down to Victoria later in November.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys. Thanks very much.
All right, mate. Have a good one.
All right.
Craig Cole,
Pleasure to have you on.
Alone. A gentleman and a scholar, and as Wild Aussie Woman says here, Craig, we appreciate you very, very much. And yep, we do. I support anybody who's fighting for our kids, fighting the right way, with knowledge, with intent, with honour, and the ones who do it for alternate reasons, I don't tend to support too much at all. All right, Vincenzo, we had this great opportunity to set up a demands email address and get people's thoughts on what they needed from anybody or any group that was going to put themselves forward as a potential political solution going forward. Now, there are many of us in this field that don't believe there's a political solution. And
we got to take an attack.
There is.
Yeah.
We've
got to.
So we want people's ideas, people's suggestions, and I've only pulled up 3 that we received today because, all of them are reasonably long, and I'm going to read them all to you. But we want your demands. What do you require? What would you need before you would trust a group of people to represent you? What do you demand from those people? And Dave says, I can probably share this. Oh, not like that, I can't. You can do that. Dave says, all speech allowed with exception to that which leads to physical crime. Don't mind that idea. Term limits for all politicians and high-level bureaucrats to 2 terms in any combination of government, i.e. 1 local, 1 federal, with a ban on lobbying or advising after leaving for 20 years. In Senate estimates, withhold pay for the entire department until the take-on notice is completed. Every 7 days, incomplete results in permanent loss of that portion of pay should make them more responsive. By God, I reckon that would make them very responsive, Dave. Recall elections for all politicians at any level. Bosie, if they aren't working for you, boot them out immediately. Look, I agree with Bosie's idea there. The recall elections, I think, is a great one. If they are doing the wrong thing, if the person you represented or you elected to represent you isn't representing you and is, like they are all at the moment, helping out the cabal, then yes, a recall election should be able to be called and a new representative found for your community. Number 5, Queensland to have a Senate. Now, people outside of Queensland may or may not realise the significance of that, but in Queensland, I can tell you it's bloody significant, and we need it. Not having one was supposed to be a temporary thing, and until the war was over, and then, of course, the war ended, and, they didn't mind the idea of not having an oversight house in the Queensland Parliament, so they didn't bother putting it back in. And finally, from Dave, number 6, the reprint law in Queensland to be repealed, with the original worded one replacing those changed. This law allows the changing of the wording of laws that have amendments on them, either adding or deleting sections or parts to read more smoothly, in inverted commas. It does the same for those laws affected by the changed law. We know that in addition or removal of a single word can change the meaning of the law. And all you have to do is look at the Queensland Health Act for that. You're 100% on there. Scotty sent one through. I demand without delay full immediate transparency and disclosure of all commercial agreements between all governments, including local councils, state governments, federal government, and all international government-appointed representatives, along with all government-appointed agencies, committees, commissions, and bodies, via full release of all documentation without reduction for 100 years. I like that little kicker. And ongoing forward into perpetuity. All reports are to be always made publicly and freely accessible to Australian citizens. I think that's a very good point, Scott. Number 2, I demand that no public servant in Australia shall conceal any agreement with any international body, organisation, whether they be internally located within Australia or externally foreign, and that any agreement that may negatively affect Australian citizens' health, wealth, human rights and freedom of speech, and the right to freely travel within all states of Australia shall be open to critical public debate with all facts and alternatives presented to the Australian public prior to any agreement made. Any failure to meet this demand would be deemed as traitorous and punishable by the full force of Australian law. Now, the only thing that I would question in that particular piece is this bit here. The human rights, or more particularly the free speech. There is no provision in Australian law for free speech. Absolutely none. And I think I said last night that one of my demands would be that a law is created and passed giving, protecting Australians' rights to free speech. Now, creating a law is not necessarily the best way to do it. In fact, it's absolutely not the right way to do it. But it would give us protection until such time that certain other friends of this program, we might sneeze Tim Dwyer's name out occasionally, and others who are working on a constitutional update for this country, well, that is where the freedom of speech has to appear in whatever comes of our constitution or a Bill of Rights, which Australia doesn't have. We assume that we are covered just like America, but that's the case, unless, of course, we are the 51st state, in which case, pass me a copy of the independence document and send me my rifle, please.
Yeah. Ditto.
Number 3, I demand without delay full immediate transparency and disclosure of all facts on all political donations. Great point, Scott. Great point. Including foreign donations to any Australian political party via full release of all documentation without redaction again. All reports of such donations are to be made publicly and freely accessible to the Australian citizens within 48 hours of acceptance. Love it. We should also bear in mind when we're thinking about what we are demanding here, folks, is that blockchain voting technology, blockchain encrypted technology on phones is right around the corner. It should be possible in the very, very, very near future for us to conduct surveys, if you like, using that software. And we ask you a question, we put it out, we push it out through here, it turns up on your phone. It can be a yes or no, or it can be a, write a line answer kind of thing. And this will be a way that the temperature of the nation can be gauged every day. This is a way that everybody in the nation eligible to vote can interact with the discussion. And this is a way where Australian people can vote on the most important things affecting them of the day. Things like, should our immigration minister be hauled over the coals and hung from the neck until dead for the immigration policy that is screwing this country right now? All right, I might myself with the hanging them from the neck and all that, but you get the idea.
There's other appendages that they could be hung from. Just saying.
Or other appendages. In fact, I'd vote for that. Yeah, preferably under a high light pole with a big pelican just sitting on top. That hook on the pelican's beak. So I think that we need some of those sorts of demands from whatever, or demands from whatever group potentially could come and represent us. Moving on, I think I've got another one. Nev, the Wookiee, or the bear, depending on what you want to call. And he was in the chat. I don't know if he still is. You and I have got to have a chat soon, Nev. First and foremost, remove all current protections for state and federal MPs, senators against being held accountable or liable for having to be subject to the various acts and legislations that they have or can create. Currently, there's built-in immunity for pretty much every piece of legislation they have on the books. The prime and most blatant example of all would be the COVID mandates, where they were all exempt from that. We weren't, but the politicians were. All must be equal under the law. I agree. If anything, they should be held to a higher standard than anyone else. I agree. Penalties to range from fines to confiscation of their assets to jail to execution as well. Well, certainly, I believe treason and sedition are capital offences. And this nation needs to stand up, wake up and start acting. There must be a Bill of Rights created with no wriggle room for interpretation and severe penalties for any attempted circumvention of or by the political class. A very good point. And that Bill of Rights would need to be written by people much smarter than me. But there are people much smarter than me working on such things in the background as we speak. Free speech, a right to self-defense, must be first and second. And yes, the right to any form of self-defense. It's bad enough that the ability to own a firearm is highly restricted, but the inability to own any non-lethal self-defense is an absolute disgrace. Judges and police, upper hierarchy to be independent from the political class. That means no more politically appointed high court judges, where every motion that we have taken has been stymied before it even gets in front of a justice. Why? Because if they actually see it, they've probably got to do something about it. So they have very, very detailed ways and means of making sure that justices never see those submissions. You get a registrar that knocks it back on a technicality, and that's the end. Bad luck. You can't resubmit. That's it. The system is absolutely skewed in their favour, rigged 100%. That must change. Perhaps judges could be elected with future contracts only awarded based on performance review. I like that. Before you're eligible to run again. That is not dissimilar to the American system. Oh, well, there he goes. Ditto. Sheriffs in the US with full authority to arrest the politicians, judges for any transgressions. Now, those local sheriffs and judges in those communities are elected every, well, I don't know if their terms are for a year or for 2 or 3 years, but they are dutifully elected by the people of their community. That means the judge who's going to judge you for your DUI after you've had a big night after the footy and was stupid enough to get in the car and drive home is going to be your local judge, the bloke who lives in your town. He's going to know if you're the town drunk. He's going to know if you're a pain in the ass while you're drunk and driving around town, making a fool of yourself. He's going to know if you're just one of these people who's never going to learn, and he's going to take your license off you for life or send you to jail because his job is to protect the community. That would be the job. Now, you may well get a lawyer to try and help you get off this case. But at the end of the day, if the evidence is there against you, drink driving is pretty easy to prove. Well, not hard. Tony sent in one last one for us. He would like integrity, honesty, truthfulness, and reliability in communication. Well, communication, I think, would probably be one of the biggest things we seem to be missing at the moment from anybody on our side, and it is one of the most. Oh, you have? Where have you shared that? Here you are. Very good. I can't read it though. You'll have to.
Oh, great! Me reading? Me and reading?
Yeah.
Come on.
Right, well, hang on. Let me see if I can blow it up.
Sorry.
Oh, look, I can read it. I've just full screened it. Where to start? Okay. I demand, number 1, transparency in every way across the board, all submissions, interactions, financials. 2, a willingness to stop the progress and then cut out the leftist programs in education systems from kindergarten through to universities, especially the transitioning of children. Stop the sale of any resources to foreign companies, gas, coal, water, everything, till such time as we, our country, is fully under our control again, and we can sell anything if we have a surplus and a need to. I agree. Pardon me. A very strict eye on Australian companies that have access to resources. No more rorting or destroying our country for money. We take what we need and give back what we can. I like that too. A constitution that fits the needs of the Australian people. Freedom of speech being top of the list. Hear, hear. Number 5, needs someone who has 2 teams of people. Teams to build up the new while Team A to build up the new while Team B tears down the old. Yes, I think that is a very good idea as well. Everything courts, banks, whether making industries, medical industries, all previous government parties, healthcare, legislation, education. Who can have a business in Australia? Who can buy property? Who can take our resources, foreign or not? our business register, our charities register. Every system that is holding this house of cards needs to be ripped open and exposed. We need people educated, intelligent enough to do that. I think Donna 100% on the money with all of that too. These are all really great suggestions. And we're not done. There's going to need to be a lot more of those suggestions coming our way. So please email us, demands@vofhq.com. And I swear to you, I'm keeping all of these. You can see I've put them into a Word document already. I'm keeping these, and these will be delivered to someone at the appropriate time. I can tell you that I know that there are moves. Well, every major party is trying to get a foot into the freedom movement, if you like. I don't see it as a foot into the freedom movement. I see these people as trying to gain leverage over the disenfranchised voters, whether you're a freedomer or a normie. There are plenty of normies who are disenfranchised from voting as well. And I think this is where we, as a group, may have our strength. Like I was saying at the beginning of the show, there's 18 to 20% of Australians who refuse to vote in elections because they do not believe their vote will make a difference one way or the other. They do not trust any side of the two-party politic program and have no faith or belief that any politician in this country will work for the betterment of Australian people, just themselves or the corporation they swore their oath to.
Yeah, I think your number's a little low there, Carl.
It might
be. The last federal election, right, there was 17,000 odd voters available on the rolls. Only 13,000 voted. So that's 4,000 that didn't. That's over 25% of Australians failed to vote. Now, if we could get that 25%, right, we would be looking at a significant movement of people that we could put in to do the job that needs to be done. Because there's guys that will go in there and do the job because it needs to be done now. It's not a case of I'm going in for my own bravado. The word representative means something, right? You are the representative of the people. You are not there for you. You are there for them. So 4 million votes Australia-wide, donkeyed or didn't vote.
And then there's those of us who wound up voting for One Nation or any other of the minor parties because we didn't want to cop the fine. Well, if we can get that 20%, that 25% that never bothered turning up, and we add ourselves to it, let's say we've got 35%.
Yeah, that's more than enough to wipe out every single party.
Yeah, if we had 35%, we would be in a leadership position. Albanese won government on 33%.
The thing is that we need to get our independents to start joining together. Now, whether that's a loosely coalitioned party or whether that's just some form of way that everybody supports everybody else and leaves the big three at the last, right? We need to have some format in that respect. At the moment, they don't. They fight each other and they sell off their preferences. Let's be correct. The preferences are suggested, right? Every single person in Australia, if they've got a brain cell in their head, can shift their preferences around as they need to, right? If we're going to try and make a move, you and I were talking today, and you said about going the lower house. Well, I ran for the lower house, so it's a shit job trying to get in there. But the Senate may have a better option. If we can get a fully independent Senate, then we can really hold it over those guys that are making the laws down below, right?
Yeah.
So the only challenge is that in all of our senates we have, right, the last senate thing that I looked at for federal had started at A and ended at Y. Right, 25 different people running as senators. That makes it very difficult. But the worst problem is that people aren't educated on how to use that damn voting thing in the Senate paper. Right? You go and you number until you don't want to number anymore, and then your vote drops off. That's the beauty about the Senate race compared to the lower house race, right? Where it doesn't matter. You have to fill out all of the boxes. So whether you like the arseholes at the bottom or not, you still got to put a friggin' number. Otherwise, your vote doesn't count at all. So, but
and you've wasted the trip if you didn't get a sausage. So yeah.
No, I didn't get a sausage. Yeah. I wasted my trip. So, well, actually, I voted for myself, so I'm okay. But
interestingly, Triple M up here for the Queensland election this week have been running a competition where they have a local foodie company who produced something called a democracy sauce, which is going to be at as many polling booths tomorrow as possible. The only funny thing I really find about that is that anybody at the particular radio network would say the word democracy, let alone understand it. But I applaud their effort, and the democracy sausage, the democracy sauce would be about the only way you're going to see me at a polling place tomorrow. I might swing by for a snag to taste the sauce.
No, let's understand something here. We know our government is not our government. It's a corporation. We understand all these legal bits and pieces, but we're not getting anywhere by attacking from the outside, right?
No.
It's time that we started using their rules inside their own circle. So the way to do that is to get as many people in there as we possibly can, even if they're not exactly on the same page as us, but they're heading in the right direction. We still need to get them in there. And like Malcolm Roberts is a good example, right? As he says, he sees those two parties as the same side of one big arsehole, right? One cheek on each side. It's a two-party big thing. He's not quite there yet with the rest of it. But still, what he is doing is he is representing the people, right? He is fighting the battle from the inside. Now, he needs more support, right? Queensland, you guys have got it. Tomorrow, you've got it. I'm sure One Nation must be probably running a whole heap of people.
Yes, they are.
So get in there, support them, support Katter. If Katter is doing the job, support Katter, right?
Yep.
Get in there and take in the parties that are going to stand up and say enough is enough, right? And if you don't do that, I'm sorry. It's your fault when they lock you up because you said the wrong friggin' word about some young, interesting transgender person who accidentally got offended. So, right, they want to be transgender, great. You should be, if you can make that sort of move from one sex to the other, then you should be strong enough within your own heart to be able to do it. So therefore, offence should take no offence.
And that just about loops me right back to the beginning. We wouldn't have to do this if the bloody coppers stopped telling us what a great job we're doing and tapping us on the head before bashing us in the face with their truncheon or spraying us in the face with their bear spray and lying to us. You fucking coward. Get up off your ass.
Fear. And they can't do anything else. It's fear. Right? Yeah. What am I going to do? What I'm a copper. I don't know how to do anything else. Well, shit, mate. There's thousands of people change jobs every year. Learn.
Yep. And it's quite clear from the recruiting advertising spend in every state of Australia, there are no people joining the police force. They are leaving it in droves, which saddens me. I'm suggesting that the ones who are leaving are probably the good ones because they're not broad enough to stand up to the evil ones above them. They have the power of arrest. They have the power to lay charges. They are just too weak in the balls to stand up and do it. It's easier to run away and get a new job. Gutless bastards.
Well, yes and no, Carl, because you got to look at it this way. Let's say that I was a corporal or sergeant or whatever, and I went and arrested one of these pollies for doing something. I saw Wild Aussie Woman's talked about Grant Stevens getting an award. He gets an award and I got sacked because of his rule. But yeah, okay, fine. Right, I'll give him an award, but not the type he would expect. But effectively, these coppers, that they might be able to arrest it, charge it. Whoever that person is going to be out of jail in nickety flick. The charges will be dropped by the higher ups, right? And the guy who did it is going to be out of
they're the ones
anyway.
I want arrested, though. They're the ones I want the junior police to turn around and arrest, the higher ups.
Yeah, but they can't.
Go and arrest the commissioner.
It'll
Go
just
and
get
arrest
dropped and they'll get sacked.
Assistant commissioners. You know
what we need them to do. What we need these coppers to do is when we're out there doing our stuff, they need to go, can't see shit. Nothing going on here. And let us do what we have to do. That's what we need them to do.
Yep.
Right?
100%.
Instead of enforcing it. It's like, oh, big protest. Bring out your gas and your battens and stuff. Oh, geez, I'm really sick today. See ya.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
That's where it comes from.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. So
if you haven't got the balls to stand up to them, then embrace your weakness and stay at home when they order you to come out and hurt the people.
Yeah.
You weak-gutted bastards. All right, mate. We've been talking for an hour and a half. About time we let people go and do decent things on their Friday night.
Well, think about what it is that you demand, right? You'll find if you go back through the scroll, you'll see that it's in there. It's abuse at vofhq.com with the not.au. Someone sent us one through with the .au on the end of it. And I got the bounce message. I don't know how that worked, but we got it. But anyway, that's there. Don't forget to go to kids, right? Leave our kids alone. That's also up there, along with a link to the letter as well. Because while you were busily talking, I was busily surfing like a good little IT guy.
Very good.
Right. Also,
and we've got the Port Hedland Council kit.
Yeah, the link to the Port Hedland Council letters and stuff is also on the front page of our website now as well. Right, so that's up there. You will find that you won't have to wait.
Kit. That's an action kit. You can download all the letters and all the bits and pieces you need to start making sure that your local council gets this same information that the Port Hedland Council got, and now Anthony Albanese has had laid at his feet thanks to Russell Broadbent twice in late September, and he's ignoring all that. So, well, the bricks are stacking up. What we are lacking are those with the intestinal fortitude and badges to prosecute this for us. Hopefully, they will grow some hair on their testicles in the near future and come to the party. Otherwise, we may as well just remove their testicles.
Yeah, you already mentioned something about what they hang by, but anyway. So also, I just want to do this because Carl never does, so I'm going to. Right, don't forget that we've got white hats for sale. Right,
we do.
If you need a white hat, let me know. Hoodies, right? I'll get the right side. Beautiful hoodies are still here. The orders can be placed at any time. Right, we're still looking for members at as little as $1.25 a week. Like and subscribe. Get these stuff out there. You'll find that our website loads a lot faster now. So that is also courtesy of what happened today. But guys, if we're going to get this out, if we're going to get things rolling, if we're trying to make a noise, then we've still got to start growing. So start sharing our links out to people. Start sharing out the comment. Have you heard about Carl? He's got this really deep voice and he speaks really well and he'll put you to sleep.
He gets angry occasionally.
and swears a lot. So, but, so get it out there, get the links up, right? It is all about promotion. The only way that we can bring things about.
We want as many people's demands as possible. So whether they're on our side or not, normies through to the deepest of rabbit hole dwellers, we want your demands, because there is disenfranchised normies as there are disenfranchised enlightened folks like ourselves. We want them all. We don't want to persecute the normies for being normies. We want to, if they know that the current political system is stuffed and they can't see anything worth voting for, they feel like they've just been penned into I'll have to vote for that one, or I'll have to draw a dick on me ballot paper, or whatever the hell it is. We need that to change, at least for one election cycle, to give us, the people, a chance.
What's Donald Trump say? You've seen how the other side works. Let's try something totally different. Right?
What a great way to end the show. Mate, have yourself a great weekend. That's a beautiful smile, isn't it, folks? And a very good hand wave. And I do mean that with the greatest of sincerity. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. If the world starts to collapse and the EBS comes out, well, I'd love to tell you. I'd come on and tell you a show about it. But if the EBS comes on, I won't be on. Don't think any of us will be online. Don't think there will be an online to be on, if you know what I mean. So who knows? Is it all going to come off this weekend? Price of gold and silver very quickly before we go. This is locked in now for the weekend. $50.45. Oh, no, it's probably not quite locked in yet. Another couple of hours trading in the States. But $50.45 for silver. And gold is still going up. $4,115.70. I did see it as high as $4,122 this afternoon. So it's come back just a little bit. But it is just a little bit. Same with silver. Silver's just dropping back, but it is going to spring, folks. It always does. So go to AinsleyBullion.com.au, get yourself some of it, put in the notes section there if you're going to order and buy online, my name or Voice of Freedom, and you'll get a little bit of a discount. And hopefully that'll help you buy a little bit more for your stack. Have a great weekend, folks. If you are going out to a sausage sizzle tomorrow, then I do trust that you will enjoy it. If you're Aaron, one of the guys who watches this show, is actually running a polling booth tomorrow, Aaron. So I hope you're having a good day with it, and nothing too bad comes your way from all of that. For those people who might be sucking on a democracy sausage for the day, good luck. I hope it makes a difference. If you are undecided but willing to put pen to paper tomorrow, please vote One Nation. Please vote Independent. Please vote Katter Party. Please vote anybody but Liberal, Green, Labor, or National. We need people to keep these bastards accountable for the shit they are doing. And all we can do at this stage is pray that One Nation, the Katter Party, and any independents elected have the intestinal fortitude and the balls to do what's right by the people rather than what's right by their party. Watch out for the dickheads on the roads, folks. It's election day. There's going to be more than usual.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!